Hey, everybody. Welcome to Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here with my good friend, Micah Bellieu, the CEO and founder of Fluency Corp. Micah, how are you doing today?
I'm super. Thank you.
It's great to have you here.
Yeah, it's awesome to see your place. It is super awesome. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And we're live from our Dallas Glomo studios here. Get in the comments right now. I want to know who you are. Where in the world are you? What is your language of choice? Maybe not that. Maybe that's probably your native language, right? But do you know any languages besides your native language? Yes or no? We're gonna do a quick audience poll here. Micah is our language aficionado, experts. What other kinds of flowery kinds of adjectives do you use to describe your?
When I used to go to the HR conferences, which I still do, they called me the language lady. So
The language lady.
Language lady.
The language lady.
It makes me sound very old.
It's like language. It's like the lunch lady. Like I should get a sloppy Joe and a pronunciation etymology. A sloppy Joe and etymology, please. Country of origin.
Let's work on that.
All right.
That
Well,
title.
the language. Like, you're so much more though. You have all this like amazing personality, and people don't know this, but Micah actually has been part of my entrepreneurial journey because you were the one that pushed me over the edge and encouraged me to join Entrepreneurs Association.
Yeah.
The Entrepreneurs Organization. It's been really amazing for me. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I think it's really important to be plugged into what other people are doing. They have ideas that are outside of your industry. And so it really pushes you.
It really does. And thank you for doing that. And so we got people joining here live. Get in the comments. I want to know right now, what languages do you know? Let us know here. I'm not getting the comments coming in here, but I'm seeing them coming in. So, maybe Adam, if you could play those for us here, hit that like button also out there. There we go. We got John Colditz. Hi from Philadelphia.
Oh, that's my buddy.
Hey there. Hey, John. Tyler Eschla, as they say in Switzerland. He's saying, hey, tuning in all the way from around the world, Dallas, Texas. Love Tyler here in the studio. Richard Majewski, looks great. Soft tones, plants. Wow. Hey, Richard, you coming on to me? Hi from London. Good to see you there, Richard. Richard, you know any other languages? Got a nice Polish last name there. Danny Herskowitz. Hi, Micah and Ben. So excited to be watching this live in Love and Reload Studios. Jana Chezanowski coming to us from Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
You know Jana.
Of course.
Yeah. I want to ask you, Micah, how many languages do you speak?
I speak Spanish very, very well. And then French I can work in, but it's not as good as Spanish.
You can work in it.
Yeah,
and that's an important distinction.
I think so. Yeah. I can figure out any situation, but it's not as instinctual as the Spanish.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then Japanese.
And then where's Japanese on the scale of
Guys,
fluency?
I've taken 1,050 hours and I'm an advanced beginner.
Advanced beginner.
Means I can kind of chit chat.
Kind of chit chat.
It's really rough.
I can kind of chit chat.
And then I told Jana that I started Portuguese last week. So I told her in 2024, she should have huge expectations for the Euro conference when she sees me.
Wow. So do you expect to be better at Portuguese in 2024 than you are at Japanese?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it because you're being so intentional with it, or because it's a little more easier language to learn?
Yeah. So to give you an idea of how long it takes, I make people really sad when I say this. You have to do about 600 hours to have a good level of Spanish or French if you're an English speaker. And then it's 2,000 hours for a pretty basic level for Japanese.
Wow. That's a lot of hours.
It just takes forever.
Yeah. Is it because of the different alphabet? Like
it's not even the alphabet. It's like the whole sentence is backwards and nothing looks the same. And I don't mean alphabetically. Like interesante is interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Doesn't sound so crazily different.
I can get there with some cervezas.
And then like difícil, difficult.
Yeah.
In Japanese, it's muskashi desu.
It is difficult. It's an onomatopoeia. It is actually difficult to say. I love it. This is great. Danny Herskowitz saying English and I can read Hebrew.
Cool.
Adam, when I get these comments in, you got to put them up for me because I got no ability to put comments up. Richard Majewski saying, yep, so I can speak German and pathetic French with a phrase or two in Polish. Is pathetic a technical term for a level? Is that
maybe
I'm
it's
pathetic beginner?
Japanese.
I'm pathetic beginner.
Yeah. It's my really trying Japanese.
So when you say that you can work in French,
yeah,
that's like a real like level of distinction. Like what does work in French? Like what level is working competency?
So if you look at the universal levels, it's called the B2 level. So if you look at job ads in Europe, it will say B2 proficiency needed for this job. And you have to like show your certificate.
You have to show your B2. Not like here where we're like, oh, fluent in this, fluent in that.
Yeah,
like we're fluent in everything over here, but we're really not.
Like 5 hours. The test.
5 hours to get to a B2?
No, the test is 5 hours.
Gosh.
Like I took the Spanish one for the C1 level, which is the low native. 5 hours. At one point, 2 teachers are listening to you. One's typing her comments about how you speak, and one's talking to you and just shooting questions at you.
Wow.
About how your analytical thinking is about certain situations.
It sounds triggering. Look at your face. She's like, she teaches this and she's like, it was so horrible. Oh my
super
gosh.
nerve-wracking. Yeah.
This is great. We got Rob Zeitz in the house from Cambridge, Mass.
Oh,
I
yay.
speak English and I'm wicked fluent in Boston English.
I love it. He parks the car.
Park the car. You like apples? Jason Hall, Jay Hall from USI Law in the house. Jason, you speak anything? Let us know. Get in there. Get in the comments. I want to know what language do you speak or what do you want to learn? Because that's
that's a good one.
That's what Micah does, right? What do you want to learn? What is the easiest language for people? Let's just assume
for English speakers.
English speakers.
Yeah. English speakers, any romance language, honestly, 2 hours a week for even 2 years, you're going to be above and beyond most people's level.
Define romance languages for the people at home. I think it's
French,
novels and stuff.
Portuguese,
French.
Spanish, Italian.
Are we counting Latin and Romanian?
We're not.
We're not. Okay, don't study Latin.
Well, people speak Romanian.
I mean, you can. Yeah, Romania's.
Yes, obviously.
Romanians. Yes. So let's talk about as it pertains to like global mobility and relocation, right?
Please.
Because language is important, and I think sometimes if it's possible, we forget how important it is.
I know. We get
Why do we do that?
Well, we get worried about the stuff and we get worried about our kids, and which we should be.
We get worried about the household goods and
Yeah,
we forget the fact that they're going to show up and not be able to talk to anybody.
Yeah, we do a little bit.
It's true.
We get sent employees and they're my level of Japanese sometimes. And they're supposed to be working
Like in a technical field, maybe.
Yeah.
Is that even worse? Like, is it worse if they're working in like a plant or an engineering role versus like I don't know what else.
So they're almost always technical in engineering.
Yeah.
You can't be a recruiter and have a advanced beginner level of a language. So I would say 85% of our clients are engineers of some kind.
Do you teach like engineering Japanese?
So the interesting thing, and I think this is what can often be misunderstood, they know all the technical words.
Oh.
Those are all of the words that everyone learns because English is the science technical language globally.
Oh.
It's how do you explain your ideas? How do you talk to the client and manage relationships that they can't do?
Which is super important because if you're super smart in engineering, but everybody hates you, or you can't communicate, or you can't get buy-in or consensus.
Or you can't explain what they're selling because the salesperson will be a native English speaker on the call. But the engineer has to explain what they're going to do for the client or for the company.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I want to hear from people out there that are watching this right now. We got people coming up here. What do you think about the importance of language training in an assignment? Is it important? Is it more or less important than the household goods, the corporate housing? Here's one, the immigration assistance. What's funny about this? I talk to people from all over the world in every single facet of our industry. And everybody thinks that their facet is the most important, and yet most underfunded aspect of an assignment. So I always like, because everybody
Everyone says
will
it.
hop in, but oh, super important. Yeah, super important. I'm like, okay, what would you cut? What would you cut if you had a fixed budget? What would you cut? And then it becomes a battle royale of benefits.
Well, I will say the reason I like to have big picture conversations with our clients, which we get to have with our direct clients, we love our RMCs. We do get to strategize with them and say, hey, what is that guy going to be doing in Houston, Texas? How much language training does he or she really need?
Yeah.
And kind of change that and not waste money where it's not needed. And
Yeah.
then, hey, what's that guy going to be doing? Oh, he's leading a team of Americans. Okay.
Yeah.
let's up that. Let's give 30 hours to that guy and 170 to that guy.
Do you find that if you're managing native speakers that you have to have the bar is higher for your proficiency? They expect a certain level?
I think the leader wants to connect to their team, and oftentimes the leaders are asking, can I get that support? Not only just through the language, but what is going to offend or annoy. We've gotten that a lot lately. Even people that are native English speakers from South Africa are asking to take classes because they're leading a team of Americans. Isn't that fascinating?
Is it for accent or colloquialisms? What is
vocabulary to avoid, and then just way of talking. So that's more culture, but it's culture through communication.
When you say way of talking, like what do we
directness versus indirectness, and maybe a more roundabout way. So Europeans are more direct than Americans. We might soften it a little bit. And so learning how to make that connection and not annoy, I don't want to say piss off,
be direct,
your
but
team.
But you don't want to.
Yeah, how to get the most from your team that is from another culture. Yeah, but not just culture, the communication part of it.
Yeah, no, I could see that, because if somebody comes in, they're German or something, and they're
more
giving
direct.
me very direct, stuff. I'm like, hey, chill,
Yeah.
What's up with that? What I do to, what happened?
And it can be same language, like Spain to Mexico. Spain is like, do this. And Mexico's like, hey, maybe do you think possibly someday tomorrow you could maybe do this thing? Maybe. Okay, no.
We
okay.
do that. Why do we do that?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? How come we talk like that, Micah?
It's just culture. I don't necessarily know that there's a specific reason. Why are we
so roundabout with it?
Yeah, it's not wanting to say no in terms of Mexico.
Okay. All right. We've got some questions coming up here in the chat here. Get in the chat. I want to hear your questions about language training. What do you speak? What has been your experience with it? We've got a question coming up here, Adam, from Richard Majewski here. He says, what percentage of those moving to another country are expected to know the local language? Can people sometimes move and just English is fine? Such an English native speaker.
No, but I think it's a great question. It's to the point of my service is the most important and the most underrated. It's not always necessary to learn the local language. It's really not. If there's a huge expat community and maybe they're going to be there 2 years and they're like, we're going to stay on our bubble, totally respect it. Do what you got to do. We're going to stay in our bubble. We're going to go to our English speaking international school and all of our kids are going to know those people. Then that's how we're going to do this. And I don't think not wanting to learn the language or having time for that when you're raising kids and everything, like, no shame. No shame. I think it depends on people's goals for their time there. And so having those conversations in advance and how they're going to be living there, especially 6 months down the road after the move, is critical because they don't know what they're going to want or they're going to need.
Yeah.
Comfortable.
We got some other questions coming in here. See, this is interesting. Also, look at Richard. Richard's always going for extra credit here. Can we bring Richard's question up here, Adam? Richard says, does language training go hand in hand with cultural training in the same class? He says.
I think that they can overlap.
One second. Sure. Danny, can you bring that comment up over there on your side? You see the comments on the right? Yeah. Just click that. Click the comment you want to bring up. No. Okay. All right. Yeah. So so Mike is saying they go hand in hand.
Um,
Do you handle that? Like, do you do that? Like,
we do some culture. I will say for us, what we're the most confident in is language training and assimilation, which assimilating is more being comfortable with the neighborhood that you're living in, with the coworkers that you're working with and being with on a day-to-day basis. Um, Feeling confident about your home and being able to take care of yourself and not feeling out of place. So, for example, if you're having class with your language teacher and the Wi-Fi goes out and they say, "Oh, this just keeps happening. I'm just been having such a problem with this. If I was in the US, I would know how to do this. I don't know how to
yeah,
do this here." And the teacher goes, "Well, I'm from here. Like, ask me."
this is how you do it.
Yeah, this is how you do it. Or you're having this problem with a coworker,
Yeah.
tell me about it.
So it's not like necessarily
A
by
set program.
design,
Mm-mm.
but it's like some of it's obvious for people who teach languages that this is how
Issues
you
come
do
up.
it.
Yeah.
Duh, like this
Yeah.
is how it works.
Yeah, we're with them for like 50 to 100 hours, on average 300 hours. That is a long time of their life in the new country. So these things come up and they're going to be asking those questions of, "Hey, how about a house cleaner? Is that normal here?" Or, "Hey, how would I take a cab here? Are cabs the thing here?"
Yeah.
Whatever the
Right.
question is, you have this buddy
Right.
that's coming twice a week to your home.
We don't ever think about that. We really don't ever think about that in terms of, language training. I don't think I realized, if I'm being honest, I don't think I realized how much time an expat spends with their language coach.
Exactly. I really and truly believe, I mean, please someone tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't know who else is spending 100, 200, 300 hours with this
Yeah, I mean,
client.
it's not their mover. That's for sure. It's not their mover. It's not their corporate housing specialist. It's not their yeah, I mean, it's not even their DSP. Probably the DSP probably spends the second most time.
Agree.
And honestly, that's probably 3 days at the beginning to help them get, situated and get all their documents in order or whatever. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting. I'd love to hear from other people out there. I'd love to hear from other people and see what y'all think about it. Look at this. We got Rob Zeitz here. We got a question from David. Keep those questions coming because we're going to get to all of them. We got a whole bunch of people tuning in here on LinkedIn. That's awesome. Hit that like button. Get in the comments here. David Linton. Let's see. We got a question here. David says,
"Hey, David."
"Hi from Dallas."
Yeah, I know him.
What's up, David? I know David from the NTRP meetings.
Exactly.
David's a tax dude.
Yeah.
I love this language topic. I'm glad you do, David. There are so many cool ones in this world. I feel like if you're on assignment in a new country, the only way to make the most of it is if you can verbally interact with the people. Do you agree? I mean, is it possible? Have you seen people go and just not learn the language and like have
Absolutely.
success? I mean, or is it different? Like if you're going for like extended vacation versus a work assignment, like
It really depends on what is needed versus the time it's going to take to learn that language. I was in Japan for a month taking a crazy 80-hour Japanese course in 4 weeks. And there was a German guy that was 2 levels below me. Mind you, first time in the country for me. Never been there before. And he's like, "Oh yeah, this is my day 1." I'm like learning, "Hello, how are you?" And I was like, "Oh, when did you get here?" And he's like, "20 years ago."
what? In
He's-
Germany?
He's from Germany.
Oh, he's from Germany.
In Japan.
Oh, okay, in Japan.
Yeah. And I said, "What, why are you starting now? And why
Yeah.
did you never need to?" And he said, "My whole company works in English. All our friends speak English. Where is the return
Yeah, where's the
on
ROI on
200
this?
and
On
2,000
2,000
hours of Japanese?" And his
Yeah.
kids go to the Japanese local schools because the schools are so good there. Really, any school is great.
And so his kids are fluent
100%.
Japanese.
They are Japanese.
They are
Yeah. In the sense of
Japanese.
like born there. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
Japanese.
So again, that's why it's good to have these conversations to see, is it even necessary? I don't think it should be in every package. So see,
yeah.
not
Look
everyone
at
needs it.
she's She's at least she's honest there. She's like, it doesn't have to be every.
Core
And I
value,
like
transparent.
and I like the fact that you also tailor it based on the needs of where they're going in the organization.
Yeah, some
on
might
how
just need basics, not business at all. Some people need advanced. Just depends.
Yeah. I got more questions about that from a policy standpoint, but real quick with the comments here, get in the comments if you want to know something from Micah. Rob saying, I like the idea of investing hours based on the employee's role, not just a blanket amount of hours for everyone. Is there like a Dano McCoy says Guten Tag from Vegas, Dano.
Nice.
What up, Dano? Yeah, is there what's like the standard package? I mean, what is a typical expat policy like?
Well, I would say the standard package with our direct clients, with someone who is not an advanced speaker, 100 hours minimum.
100 hours minimum.
And they're usually renewing twice. So that's 300 hours average.
Okay. 300 hours. It's like 100 hours per renewal. That's like on a standard package.
And it's kind of a year.
Yeah.
Think of 50 weeks, 2 hours a week. Yeah.
And that's to get them from a certain like an A.
I call it a big leap in a change of way in a way they're communicating, a big change in the way they're communicating. I can get all technical, but it's best to say like, you're going to see a large difference.
Large difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's assuming.
And that's for us. That's not with some companies have their own, right?
Do most folks who are going on an assignment have a basic level or what we might call in the business beginner pathetic? Do they have some sort of a base level of language skills in that country?
We've had some clients, maybe at the beginning when they started sending people to the United States or they opened up a US headquarters, we saw some lower level coming in, but within a year, they realized how hard it was to get that person to the next level and then started accepting a B1 level as the minimum. So it's very rare that we see lower than the B1 level, which is a lower intermediate. So within the year, they're at that strong working level. And that's okay. I think that's good.
So I know some countries have a language requirement.
Yes.
To get a work visa in that country. Do you know how many, is that common or
it's not super common. And it's not a super high level required. We have heard, you guys can completely tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe we just had a meeting with someone that said Belgium had you got to start working toward a certain level.
I'm sorry.
Within a certain number of years.
Forgive me for my ignorance. What do they speak in Belgium?
Well, some parts of it is French.
Okay.
And then some parts of it is Dutch.
Wow, you pulled that one out. Ooh. The plane was going to the mountain.
And she pulled it right out. Like, they don't even know. We're going to teach them.
They're just billing me. They don't even know. No, I'm just kidding.
I do get a little murky with Switzerland. And there's like 3 or 4 languages depending on the border.
When you said they have to have a basic level of knowledge, I'm like, in what? Like, I don't even know what because there's like, so Switzerland speaks like 3 languages. Like, yeah,
and I could be I just know that they're doing a Mexico and a Belgian project, and we had one meeting, and I just remember them saying our goal is for them to pass this test.
If you know out there, if you're watching this and let's crowdsource this here. What countries, we're going to ask the audience here, what countries have a language requirement? I'd love to know. In order to get a work visa,
not even work. This isn't even work. This is to live. Like they're pushing assimilation. Yes, to live there.
What countries have? I'd love to know what the language requirements by country. People that have the Google, that have the Wikipedia. Tyler's over here like, yes, this is I can do. He's like, I can do this.
Yeah.
He's like, I am now a language expert. Yes, give it to me here, Tyler. All right, we got stats and information. Eshla over there.
Nice.
This is great. While stats and information is looking that up. David Linton saying, I've been fairly solid at speaking Spanish my whole life, but I don't think I could ever call myself fluent. What qualifies someone as a fluent speaker? When you can speak without having to think about it? Any suggestions to make that final push to fluency? What a
You
great
know,
question.
It's a really great question, and I think it's the marketing confusion of so many language apps and schools and Berlitzes and Duolingos,
yeah.
like fluent in 3
Are
months.
we
It's
blaming
like,
the internet? Is this
should
another?
we
Yeah.
define fluency
Yeah.
before we think what fluent is?
I mean, let's be honest. Most of us probably just be like, I'm fluent. Fluent. I go on people's LinkedIn page, people I know. Like, you're fluent and all that? I
Yeah.
don't think so.
One time, so
What?
embarrassing. I went on a date with somebody and the person was like, yeah, I'm fluent in Spanish. Didn't know I spoke it. So I started speaking. You said you were fluent. I wasn't even trying to like
blow them up.
Yes.
But you're like, but this is
and then it was
this
like,
is Fluency Corp people. You don't.
and it was just, and I was like, oh, total embarrassment. I felt so bad. I moved on to the next topic.
Yeah, you're not actually.
Tried to save.
But were they embarrassed?
So bad.
They were so bad. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
they're like,
oh. So fluency, what is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is fluency?
What is it? I like to describe it as easily and clearly be able to express yourself on more or less any topic.
More or less any topic.
Yeah. We're not talking about like one time I had to go to a lawyer in Mexico. That was rough. I don't know lawyer speak.
I don't know it in English.
Like the dentist. I don't know dentist speak.
Yeah.
So maybe not those things, like those are hyper specialized.
Specific.
Yeah. So basic everyday stuff.
Yeah.
You can make yourself be understood.
Yeah.
And you understand. How about that?
Okay. I like that definition.
It's not that you never have questions, because I still learn stuff in Spanish.
I still learn
I don't
stuff
know
in
every
English.
word. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my point.
My kid came home with 500 vocabulary words.
God,
I'm like,
yes.
sweet. That's my lucky day.
Exactly. We've pushed those SAT words
yes.
way out of our heads.
Yes, exactly. David, does that answer your question? Let me know. Now, using a technical term, what level is fluency? Is it like an A2 or B?
I think a lot of people would say the B1, the lower intermediate, but most people are still struggling to express themselves. So I think the most universally is the B2.
B2.
Which is what is required to get a job in most European countries.
Oh wow. Okay. So, wow, interesting. So it goes, so the lowest level is C, is that right?
No, A. So just think of starting.
A.
A1 and A2.
Oh, I had it backwards.
Yeah.
I don't even speak well in this language. A1 is
2.
an A2.
Beginner low, beginner high.
So beginner low is beginner pathetic, A1.
Yeah.
And then A2.
That's kind of my Japanese.
Like beginner.
It's like, oh, I'm advanced pathetic.
Yeah.
Basically.
Eats in restaurants, eats in homes. Okay, B1.
You're like, that's impressive.
You're like, wow, I didn't know you could do that.
That's impressive. Even
B1.
A2, it's higher than most people have. Come on.
Okay, B1. And then B2 is like fluent.
Yeah.
We'll call it
I wouldn't call it, I would call it fluent, able to work. You're still gonna have questions, obviously. It doesn't mean you understand everything. Like when there's a word I don't know, sometimes people are like, I thought you were fluent.
I thought you were. Miss Fluency over here.
I know.
And then is there a C?
Yeah. So I took that Spanish test and I got a C1, and they have different levels. So there's reading, writing, speaking, and listening. And so because I don't have this academic background in Spanish, I learned mostly doing it with people.
Okay.
I was immersed. I was crying. I was screaming. I hated it, but I got fluent.
Yeah.
And so I have a C1 in speaking.
Okay.
But yet my analytical writing a report about business was like,
yeah.
It was maybe a B2.
Yeah.
B2.
So then the highest level is
C2.
C2.
And the C's are called native. There's low native and high native.
Low native is just, okay. Got it.
It's crazy good though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then native C2.
Advanced native.
Advanced native.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those are like 5,000, 10,000 hours.
Okay. So David has a follow-up. Where can I take this Spanish test to see my level? He says, I have a free Sunday. I have no hobbies and I want to take this test.
You sign up for Dallas, sign up at SMU, and you have to pick the level you think you are first. So you have to take the level. They don't tell you your level.
Oh, you have to pick. You have to know. Is there a way to before he winds up in a 5-hour?
Of course. Yeah. He goes online. It's DELF, the DELF test.
DELF.
Or Español. Don't ask me what it stands for. DELF or the DELE.
Language.
DELE. Because it's in Spanish. I just don't remember.
Okay.
Diploma of
That's
Spanish
some
for
C2
language.
stuff.
That's what lenguas extranjeras. Yeah. So it's the Spanish for foreign languages. Yeah. Foreign speakers.
Hungry.
Yeah. And you'll take it at SMU. That's where it'll go.
SMU, DELF.
The higher the level, the less chances because there's so few people. Like for the C levels, it's once a year.
Wow.
That's your only option.
Was this in a group setting that you took these tests?
You do it in a class. Yeah. But when you do the speaking, you're on your own.
So.
But the reading and the writing and everything, and David, be aware, there's like people from Argentina, there's people from Cuba on those recordings. So practice your other
so they're giving
accents.
It to you in different accents.
Yes, it was horrible.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I've never spoken to anyone from Cuba.
So if somebody
there's
does
like no S's in the whole language. ¿Cómo está? It was rough. Where are we? Where are we talking about?
I don't know. We have an hour. We get to do whatever we want. It's my show. So we have great questions coming in here. Keep those comments and questions coming. David thanks you. Yeah, we'll see how you thank her after you take that accidental C1 test over there.
Yeah. The practice test, David.
So if there's an English equivalent of this test,
of course,
are they giving it to you in like Irish brogue and like UK Cockney and like American English? Are they throwing that? Danny's laughing because he knows the Scots are nuts out there.
So as far as I have heard, the TOEFL and the TOEIC are both coming out of the US. And so those are the English
TOEFL
tests.
Is the English test.
The TOEFL is the university students test.
Got it.
So corporations, stop taking the TOEFL for your employees. It's to go to college.
Yes.
This is a huge mistake.
People do that? It's a common mistake?
They're choosing the wrong test and they're not realizing it's for college
because they've seen TOEFL.
Yes,
but
it's such a common
What's the other one they need to take? What's the
TOEIC is for business.
TOEIC. How do you spell that? Como se dice?
TOEIC.
TOEIC.
Yes.
The
TOEFL, there's going to be like talking about dorm rooms. Pointless.
Oh.
Yes. And like what's happening in the cafeteria.
What's up with the calf, y'all?
Exactly. What are they serving Thursday?
Yeah. That's hamburger helper.
It's kind of offensive for this executive with 20 years experience.
It's like we're living in dorms. I'm not taking this assignment.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
I'm sharing with a stranger.
Yes.
Where's my wife living?
What happened to the American dream? I'm living in a dorm. Oh gosh. Anyway, good stuff. We've got David says I have some studying to do.
Yes.
You know, this Richard's got a great question here.
Ready.
We're just taking audience questions at this point. We're totally off the rails. Richard says, will technology ever make learning a language redundant? Even Google Translate, some of these other types of tech we see out there.
I do think there is definitely I think we'll all see it
in our lifetime.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think we're going to talk into something and it's going to be like 80% correct. I don't think you should use it for huge business meetings.
Right.
But traveling could be pretty good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For like recreational language.
Yeah, I don't know if it's good for high stakes stuff. That's
I'm moving to a country. I want to have a life there. Put all my eggs in this basket.
Yeah, like I'm going to Portugal in June, and I think an app translation thing would probably be fine. You just have to be careful what you say into it. You have to be really literal.
I feel like it would have to be like a wearable. You know how Yeah, sure.
Oh, like our Apple Watches.
Yes, but I like your necklace idea because it's close to it's like a mic kind of.
Yeah.
And like you say it here and it speaks it there or something.
Agree.
I when I was in Spain in Sevilla.
Oh, nice.
And this is actually story's not the story's not about to be nice.
I
went to a bullfight. I know, super controversial.
Oh, didn't I see you right
There's
after?
my bull. This is not the bull from the fight. Yeah, you did. And I met a Spaniard and he spoke no English.
Oh.
And I spoke un poquito Espanol.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, that's my A1 coming out. That's my pathetic basic coming out. And so we basically muddied through that. But he used Google Translate the whole time to try to tell me
how'd
things.
it go?
It was fun.
Good, right?
It was like I liked the mystery of it. Yeah, that was a lot of body language, a lot of signifying, a lot of
gestures,
a lot of this going on, and like
facial.
And the more you drank, and then you kind of got a feel for the body language. It was kind of nice. It was fun. I was like,
you connected.
I could do this.
You couldn't have done it without Google Translate.
And then we're sharing phones, we're texting each other and stuff. At one point, I was like, I hope he didn't just run off with my phone.
Yeah.
I didn't run off with his. I don't run much. But yeah, we worked out. It was trust. There was a basic level of trust,
That's cool.
understanding, and willingness to try to communicate via 80% body language.
I could have used that in Munich, like
Yeah.
before the COVID stuff for Euro. I don't know any German at all.
Yeah, Tyler's saying there's a company that created an app that translates via voice to text. Not sure how accurate it is all the time. Tyler, actually, our stats and information guy here, gave us some countries where you have a language requirement.
Okay, please.
Number 1, France. Number 2, Germany. Canada.
Yeah, I knew Canada was on there.
Poland, Czech Republic, Estonia. Which doesn't Estonia have one of those visas where you can like work from anywhere, like kind of entrepreneur visas? I feel like maybe. So that's kind of interesting.
Are these to work there? What is the?
These work or live? He doesn't know. Citizenship. Oh, citizenship.
That's interesting.
Well, that's a whole
because you don't have to
level.
know it here.
Yeah, but don't you have to take a test? You have to take like how many presidents are there? And
yeah,
like,
but memorizing sentences and questions and answers is different than having a conversation.
Do they administer the test in various languages though? Like, oh, German.
They might do it in English, but it's pretty easy to memorize the written stuff.
Sure.
Well,
we say
not if you're Japanese speaker, Chinese, Korean speaker.
Yeah, harder. Austria, Denmark. Sherry Venezia says, yes, to live in Denmark, you must speak their language. Rob Zeit says, Micah almost waffled a bit on the Belgian question.
I 100%.
Belgian waffles.
Oh my god!
But
gosh, I missed the pun.
Yes,
sometimes.
I know. Rob
was a really good one. Though.
Rob's
a really good one. You know, I've had a Belgian waffle.
Wicked clever. Are they different from American waffles?
They're like those ones that we get in the packages with the sugar crusty.
They're like Eggo waffles.
No, like the ones you buy. I think they're kind of harder to get here, but you can get them in Mexico. They're packaged.
Oh,
ready to eat waffles.
Ready to eat.
Not frozen.
I like ready to eat. Regarding this gentleman in Japan, maybe it happens quite a lot, and maybe social impact if a parent can't communicate. Yeah, this is really interesting. You know, it's funny. Language is one of those topics that I feel like everybody can kind of relate to because you've either learned something or you've, worked with people that are learning, and you kind of understand the pain point that's there. Maybe even more so than other aspects of relocation, like corporate housing or moving household goods, where we have to maybe kind of explain to people what can happen if someone doesn't have this benefit. Whereas with language, I think we've all kind of personally struggled ourselves not knowing the language, or we know people who have, and so I think we can relate to it. Do you find that people get it, or do you have to explain to people what can go wrong?
I think that sometimes people don't realize how much it's going to impact. So it's different for the employee than the family, right? So I talked to one Japanese company in Houston, and I said, hey, how much time do you think the expats, their first year here, that they're kind of just confused each day? Or
like how much time are they wasting? Or
like
they're not
like translating or writing an email taking an hour as opposed to 2 minutes because they're having to look up words. And they said 10 hours a week per employee.
Wow.
So I did the math. If they just made $150K a year, it's almost $38,000 a year per employee.
Yeah.
Which is not what language training costs.
Well, yeah, 10 hours a week is roughly a quarter of their salary. I mean,
I was shocked. Honestly, I thought she was going to say 2 hours. And so that's why I always mention it, because they certainly didn't think that.
So did you consider charging $35,000 for language training?
I didn't raise my prices.
I mean, maybe you should. I think you're underpriced, maybe, So
yeah, and it's different for the family. It depends on if they're going to go to an international school. Do they really need to learn? And then the spouse, are they going to work? Are they not going to work? Are they going to do an entrepreneurial thing back with their own country?
Right.
I feel like some of that stuff should be decided 3 to 6 months after the move, not before.
Yeah, it's interesting
tricky.
you bring that up. I mean, what is the right amount of time to check in with an assignee to see how things are going? Let's ask the audience this question too. I mean, y'all out there, you manage assignments, internationally. What's the right amount of time? I mean, I feel like we send the post-move survey. How do we do, after you've closed your file, whatever that
Yeah,
means,
yeah.
you know. But what's the right amount of time to check in with someone? I'd love to know if you're in the audience there watching, and we got a whole bunch of people watching on LinkedIn. Get in the comments, let us know what is the right period of time to check in with an assignee after they've gotten to destination and they're working there. I'd love to know. Get in the comments there. We'll take your comments. Micah, what are your thoughts on that?
So we just recently got into global. I say recently, but you know, we've been around 13 years and it's only been the last 2 to 3 that we've been, you know, going into global mobility events and getting involved. And so for us, we were being called 3 to 6 months after the project started or after the employee or the family had settled in. So and I remember when I moved to Mexico, I started to fall apart about 3 months in. You know, the shininess
why
was
did
over.
it take 3 why did it take 3 months? Why not earlier than that?
I think you realize how hard it is to connect with people.
Okay.
And you realize how, like I said, the excitement of it has kind of worn off.
Yeah.
And now you're just, holy, I'm living here.
Did you get kind of like lonely? Like you
So
could have super fit,
sad.
you could go out, you could go to a restaurant, but you couldn't
Yeah,
like make a meaningful friendship, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
It was so hard. And even if you went to like lunch with all your coworkers, everyone understood the joke and is laughing.
Oh, I hate that.
You don't have any
feeling.
clue what's going on.
Oh, that is the worst feeling.
Like,
If
it's
everybody's laughing
all day.
and then you're like, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah.
You know, and then they look at you like, did you get that? You're like, ha.
Yeah.
You
Or
know?
you say something and everyone looks at you like this and you know you didn't make any
get it.
sense and
then
you don't know how to make any
and
sense.
then you feel even worse because then you didn't get it, but you laughed at it.
Yeah. So this kind of like falls apart around the 3 to 6 month mark. And
Okay. And so they call you and they're like, I need
and I've
help.
talked to DSPs too, and they're like, oh yeah, we're not checking in after that.
No.
And I'm like, well, that's when they're calling us and they're Googling language training.
No, they're not
So
checking in
check
after
in
that.
again. It's just a
No.
quick email.
Yeah.
Hey, how's your emotional? How's the language? How's communication? How's making friends? Super quick check-in.
Do you know, if I'm going to ask the audience here, if you work for a relocation management company or you've managed assignments or moves or whatever, like, are you asked to check in at the 3 to 6 month mark? I mean, is there anything more for you to do? Like, I mean, let's be honest, we're all we work for businesses, right?
Yeah, I
If
get it.
if there's not like a opportunity to like sell a service or address a need, you know, that's probably not part of our process, but you're saying there is.
I think there is. I do. We have clients that spend 500 grand a year every year renewing. So I think people have this idea that it's a 30-hour package and then done. It's not if it's sold the right way.
Right.
It's not, because this is a continuing need. And I know it's a little outdated, but I really think it still counts for the data. I mean, BGRS in 2016, the survey said fitting in and feeling at home in the place was one of the top 3 reasons for the failures.
Yeah.
So if you're saving your client that $1 million failure,
right,
doesn't that put you at like the hero list of your clients?
$1 million failure is going to be my memoir. Yeah, no, that's a good title. Write that down. Somebody write that down.
But I don't think
you're
it's
right.
this mushy email of how you guys doing. It's like, do we, you know?
Yeah.
There's one client, we actually, not going to say the client, of course, but we actually called the project Save My Relo because they had so many people abandon ship.
What country was it?
One was Italy and one was France. These are awesome places to move.
I kind of didn't expect
like
you to say like, like, I'm like, can't you just go outside and look around? Like, wouldn't that be nice?
They did not. They weren't happy. Family's not happy.
No. Yeah. If the family can't connect,
and that's that assimilation part that we're doing.
So yeah,
we're
tell me
making
about
sure
the
they find
assimilation part.
friends.
Because you don't offer cultural per se, but you do it as just contextualizing.
Well, we have added cultural partners.
Okay.
So it can be in.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. We have done probably 9 culture already this year.
Okay.
So
All right.
it's easily being put in because people are asking so much. Why turn them away?
So
We have
what's the
great culture people.
assimilation thing though?
So it's really an as needed, but it's a part of the original assessment, and it's called community involvement. And because
Oh.
if they're involved in the community, then they are going to practice speaking. And if they practice speaking, they're going to feel more at home and they're going to feel more confident speaking. It's just like tennis or anything.
Yeah, so it
Do
does like
more.
a double duty there. So
Yeah.
you're immersing them.
Yeah.
But you're also forming community and connecting them.
There's got to be people you can talk to and do things with. It can't just be your family. No offense to anyone's family, but everybody has to get out.
I feel like some of your language trainers are probably like, listen, we can't be your only friends. You need to call. You need to. We need to start seeing other people. I have other clients, and you need other friends. Like you can't just call me when you want to speak French. Like we need to.
And it's so true what you just said. I mean, these people stay in touch. I actually went to
Japan
really? 3 years ago and met up with a client that I used to be the teacher of 10 years ago.
Wow.
And she like met her baby, met her husband.
Wow.
And I remember when she was telling me, oh, I met this guy. And, now I'm like seeing it all. Yeah.
Wow. That's
it was awesome.
Cool.
I met 2 clients when I was in Japan, actually. That I was the teacher, like at the very first day of Fluency
And what
Corp.
were you teaching them?
English.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm sure part of your B1 Japanese was
A2.
in A2.
I'd love to have B1.
All right.
I don't know if it's
in teaching English to folks. So you kind of had to learn it a little bit in that regard, or you learned it for that purpose?
I took it in college.
Oh, wow.
Like I took Spanish, French, and Japanese in college and high school. I was just that kid. My grandma spoke 5 languages, so I just thought she was the coolest.
So is that a polyglot?
Yeah.
Oh,
good job. Look at those
SAT words. I'm a C2 in English.
Poly meaning many, glot meaning language.
Obviously. Let's see here. We got people. Hey, the comments are starting to work here. Get in the comments. Make up for lost time. It's a party now. This is great. This is great. Richard's saying, is Esperanto still a thing? I don't know what that is.
I don't know. Oh, it's an Indian language.
It's an Indian language.
But native
and not
Native
like
American. The country India.
Okay. Native American.
I believe it is still a thing. I'm Native American Osage tribe, and I still get emails about like trying to keep the language going. So I'm sure Esperanto is if Osage is that no one's heard of.
Are you carrying the Osage mantle and teaching these language? And I feel like you're like
I would
perfect.
love to help.
I feel like you are kind of like perfect for this.
I know. I'm like, please, someone let me help with my research.
Osage to Japanese students.
Super useful.
Yes.
Do not spend any money on that.
Very
and
niche.
No one.
Very niche. So John Calder says Estonia was promoting virtual citizenship thing. So in order to become a virtual citizen, do I need to speak Estonian? Let's dig a little deeper, John. Richard says, does alcohol help learn a language? True or false? Alcohol helps learn a language. True or false? Oh, wait, before you answer, I'm gonna put it out there to the peoples. Okay. And everybody here has to answer the question too in the comments. I'm looking at all of you. You know who you are. Does alcohol help you learn a language? Put in the comments, true or false. Danny, I'm looking at you. Put it in the comments. I'm calling people out.
Why aren't your fingers moving?
I'm calling people out like an umpire. All right, put in the comments. We're desperate for comments. I pay people a lot of money just to leave comments.
Gotta get on that.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. But no, okay. So get in the comments there. This is great. People are in here. Let's see what people are saying here. Adam Sotelo, I could answer that if I drank. Aha. But Adam, you speak 2 languages, right? At least, right? What would you say your level of Adam? We got Adam, or super producer Adam Sotelo, born in Mexico.
Oh,
correct, Mundo.
Ah, cool. That's where my family's from.
What he's like that.
Well, I mean, yeah.
What is your level of?
It's not Mexico City.
What is your level of fluency? Would you say? Like, what is your level of? Like, would you say you're C2 or C?
Yeah, he's native.
Okay.
If you grew up with it, native.
How old were you when you moved? Okay, so.
But with your family, what do you speak? There you
Oh,
go.
no,
That's why he kept
that's
it, by
pretty-
the way.
yeah.
That's so key. If your parents learn English, you're likely to never keep your first language.
Oh, wow.
Fun fact.
Not fun.
I know. It's sad.
Yeah.
I get a lot of calls from parents being like, what do I do? I'm like, pretend you don't know English.
Pretend you don't know English.
That's what you do.
Wow.
Like my daughter, like I will not address her in anything but Spanish or French.
And then she can just learn English in the schools.
And with every other member of her family.
Every other member of her family.
Yeah.
But so you only, and your daughter's young.
1.5.
Okay.
Just said her first French word
I was
last
gonna say,
night,
does she
and I'm the
speak-
only French speaker in her life. I
Wow,
melted. I was
major
like, oh my
mom
God, I love
points.
you.
I remember meeting your daughter last year in Spain.
You'll see her in Dublin.
She's a cutie pie.
Mom and dad are coming too, so grandma and grandpa are coming.
I met her and she's super cute. But I won't be in Dublin. So I'll just have to send pictures.
That's sad.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. But
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah,
so
I'm
we
gonna
have,
have to know.
we have people coming in here, and David Linton says, I have to say, I do think a booze blanket helps with the embarrassment of misspeaking. And
That's
another
what it is.
booze blanket, is that a real term?
I like it. I've never heard
It's
it.
like a comfort blanket.
Shocked that I haven't heard it. But yeah.
It's, wow. Okay.
Wait, what's your other language? Is it Spanish and English? Okay.
Better be English. Okay.
I was
Because
thinking
otherwise
too
he lied
extra.
on his resume. If it wasn't, if we go on a date and I find out you don't speak English, we're gonna have a problem. Rob says, Richard, it's worth a shot or a couple shots. Rob Zeitz is just on with the puns.
He is.
Yeah.
Who is this person?
Tyler says, I wouldn't remember anything. I'd match the wrong words. This is great. Jason Hall says, no, it's called slurring. He says actually true. Danny says no, but it makes you feel less pathetic. This is
true. Yeah.
Okay. This is great. Okay. What do you think? Does it help you or not?
I don't think it helps you learn it. I think it helps you not think so much and just speak. That's
try.
what it is. Yeah. I dated someone in Mexico.
I feel like we're learning a lot today about Micah's dating history. Do we have another hour in us, people? Get in the comments. Let us know.
I just remember one time he said, let's talk after you've had 2 beers. Because I just would stop and try to think about the verb and it just comes more naturally. You think more like a kid does. They don't care about.
No, my son
up.
does not care at all.
Right? Kids just
my
talk.
4-year-old's like la 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 la. Half
Yeah.
of it's not English. He's also going to transitional kindergarten because of that. It's all right. Another topic. Yeah, he
That was
does.
my
He
question.
doesn't watch. He doesn't watch the show. It's fine. I'm just airing him out here a little bit. Oh, Tyler, did I offend you now, Tyler? That's great. Yeah, you were. Wow. Still reaping the rewards of TK. This is great. This is having a lot of fun here.
Such a random.
He's such a random guy. Yes. And then Richard's just saying Esperanto was the language they tried to introduce, which took essentials of various languages, so that in theory the whole world could understand.
Oh, see, I was someone should just
That's
strike
like a
me.
Bible story,
No
isn't
idea
it?
about that.
Like, yeah, it's like the Tower of Babel kind of stuff. Very interesting.
idea.
I'm loving this conversation. I feel like we could do this forever, but you have some really fun. We're gonna play a game. You want to play a game?
Ready?
All right. We're gonna play a game called Overrated, Underrated. You're gonna want to stay tuned for this. Get in the comments, hit that like button. Let us know if you're ready here. Overrated, underrated. I am going to ask Micah a series of overrated or underrated topics. She is going to tell me if they are overrated or underrated. Very simple. And you know what? Normally I tell her if she's right or wrong, but not today.
Oh, all
Not
right.
today. We're switching it up.
Cool.
You in the audience get to judge. You be the judge. Feel the pressure? It's like
No.
who wants to be a millionaire with no money? You ready? All right, here we go.
No pressure.
The first topic is the Yankees, underrated or overrated?
So beyond overrated.
I love it.
Can't
Where are
even.
my New Yorkers at here? So beyond. Danny's
even.
smiling. Danny, is she right? Overrated or underrated Yankees? Overrated. Hard overrated.
Yeah.
What do y'all think out there? Overrated or underrated? I mean, they do have what, like 28 championships or something?
Thank you. I was gonna say, well, yeah, when you have all the money, it's easy to buy people. And
I mean, isn't every team professional? Every team is paid
A little different.
Oh man, we're really hitting a nerve here.
It's really different. They're just snooty and
Oh, and they're
arrogant. And
so
I mean, I'm
arrogant.
from dirty Boston. It's just like
Oh,
real people
you're
and just like homegrown and like good stories of how they like got to where.
Good stories.
Just different.
I love those Dustin Pedroia origin stories.
Exactly.
Tyler says overrated. Jill says overrated. Rob Zeitz from Cambridge is just giving hearts. Jason Hall's overrated. You have a clean sweep on the Yankees. All right, Yankees lose. Yankees lose.
Top dog all the time.
All right. That was. You know what? I applaud you for going in on the Yankees. That was great. Next one. Long-term support the first year of relocation.
So language and assimilation?
Yes, presumably. Overrated or overrated? Underrated.
Underrated. I feel like you have to put one of those. Underrated, of course. Good. It's hard after 3 months and 6 months. Yeah, more support.
I like how this is structured. Long-term support first year. So it's like second half of the year. Yeah, it's a very specific window here.
Yeah.
It's like 3 to 9 months.
Check in with them a little bit.
Sweet spot. Yeah. That's great. Look at this. People are saying underrated. Very good. All right, we'll let that one go. Next one. Overrated, underrated. Making friends in a new location. Drake made a song. No new friends. Overrated or underrated?
It's underrated. It can't just be the family. You got to have a community.
Tell me about it.
And it doesn't have to be necessarily the local community or a different language. Just friends.
Yeah.
Just a community.
Friends.
Yeah. Could be your expat community. Chandler,
Rachel, Monica. Joey. Yeah, you need friends, Phoebe. You need friends, people. I'm with you on that. You need to have a community, or else it won't last very long. I'll tell you, even relocating within the US.
Exactly.
If you don't latch on to community, this is one thing. We moved a lot in the United States, my wife and I. New York, Dallas, Tampa, Clearwater, Richardson, Raleigh, Michigan, back to Plano, whatever.
Holy moly.
Yeah, a lot, too much. Anyway, but it was hard. It was harder for her because I had community built in at work.
Exactly.
So like I had the family and I had work. And then of course with the work friends, you go out, maybe you have a beer after work, whatever, you could figure it out, but she really struggled with that. But she learned to use Facebook groups, meet up, these different apps and things like that to find community. Good. And what she found on those like moms groups, stroller strides, meetups, whatever, was that more than half of those people were not from the area.
Yes.
So they were doing the same thing she's doing. And I bet 10 to 25%, especially in like Detroit, were expats.
Interesting.
They were like engineers, whatever.
And it's nice because you're going through the same experience. Yes. It's not someone who hasn't moved.
Yes.
It's someone who also really needs someone else.
Right.
Which is different than, it's like going into your school year, halfway through the school year, and everyone already has their friend groups.
Yes, exactly. Jason's enjoying this. I'm glad you are, Jason. Hit my Patreon. David Linton says underrated. So many people out there with different backgrounds to learn from. Yeah, totally. The next one's an interesting one. Let's hit her with it.
Remember what I said.
Reality television, underrated or overrated? Underrated. Oh, get in the comments right now. This is all you Yankee fans out there. This is your chance.
This is your chance to just slay me. I was like, let me put one that people are like, academia and Japanese and reality TV. It always amuses people when I tell them how much reality shows I watch.
Get in the comments. Let us know. Is reality TV overrated or underrated? Danny, the first one up, says overrated. Wow, Danny. Not pulling punches. No. David Lynn, overrated.
I know I'm going to be
it's just roasted.
Slayed. But the reason I watch is not for the reason most people
defend yourself.
Watch. So when I watch Below Deck, I am
Below Deck
actually seeing how a team works together that has never met each other before and like the leadership of, I know. See, I
You're
got
gonna
to
make this about
nerdy.
expats at sea and leadership lessons.
It's about leadership and entrepreneurial stuff and like the marriage reality shows. It's like
Yes.
how to like work in
Yes.
relationships.
Yes.
It's total sociology. It has nothing to
Yes.
do with like her hair looks bad or I don't like that dress.
Yeah, totally academic.
I just think it's interesting, and especially the long-term ones, like years and years of watching, like you see like evolution of people.
Oh yeah. Sociology, evolution.
I could write like the Fight Club thing. I could like write a
This
thesis
is
on some of these.
fantastic. Tyler says Jersey Shore traumatized Danny, but it's still overrated. Jason Hall,
Okay,
underrated.
But see, one of
Good
those
for you,
people got
Jason.
sober. Like, it's just interesting.
That's when I turned it off. Rob Seitz says we need some language training reality television.
Oh,
Is there a
that might
reality
be
show?
boring.
Is there a reality show in there? We skip through the actual instruction and see what happens with poor people who don't speak very well overseas. No.
I don't think it'd be fun. Just total confusion on camera and
Just
people not understanding each other. No storyline.
a lot of subtitles.
Yeah.
Everything
A
subtitles.
lot of just showing the phone of Google Translate.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
I don't think it'll work.
Yeah. Marie Huggins, I'm with you. Under. That's great. People.
Thanks, Marie. Why?
Yeah, why? Yeah, defend yourself, Marie. Marie says, love some mindless reality TV after thinking so hard all day. Then Jason says, love me some Below Deck. If I was a young Thundercat,
Right?
that would have been my first job.
Young
Thundercat.
Thundercat.
Oh, all right. Free traveling, he says, Jason. You know what? You've struck a chord here with reality TV. I'm gonna allow it. I think it's underrated. It can't possibly be overrated. I think a lot of people hate on it.
Trashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's redeeming
I'm saying
value
I
there.
think you can actually the stuff I mentioned, I don't think a lot of people chat about reality TV with
This is great.
growth.
Yeah, I mean
and entrepreneurship.
This is great. The last one is get in the comments on this one. Learning to write in Japanese.
Oh yeah.
Learning to write in Japanese. Overrated or underrated?
Don't do it. So overrated. Don't do it. Don't even touch it with a 10-foot pole. Forget
or a
it.
brush.
Let it go.
Do they write? Do they write with brushes? They write with ballpoint pens.
Well, now you just put in a couple of alphabetical letters, and the symbol pops up on your iPhone, and you just pick which one it is. So you just really need to recognize it. Like you don't need. They still learn, obviously.
Yeah,
in school, but like my clients will tell me, like, we haven't written in like a decade.
Wow.
Think about how often you write notes right now.
Yeah, I mean I took some notes this morning.
I took some notes this morning too, and I'm saying, but like overall,
but you know,
they're
I don't
like,
know where they went.
Yeah, like long letters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So overrated. People tell me all the time. They're like, "Oh, you're just learning to speak Japanese."
Oh, it was like Japanese writing.
You're not spending 2,000 hours learning something useless like writing it. No, I'm not.
Tyler says I have a Japanese kanji tattoo I had to learn.
Well, yeah, you should definitely know what's tattooed on your body.
Well, can you put that in Apple real quick and see what that says? Are we sure? How do you find out?
Scary.
This is the big reveal next after the commercial. What does Tyler's tattoo say?
You know, I've never wanted a tattoo, but I think I would do it in Japanese.
If you had it, you do it in Japanese?
I think so because of the space.
Oh.
I don't like there's a word I would want like humble, but I don't want to write humble.
Right.
And I don't want just everyone to be like, oh, I can say humble.
Yeah.
Like,
just like
thing.
Inside secret.
Yeah, and it's smaller.
Yeah.
Random facts.
Richard saying Tyler. People are tuning in. People are staying tuned past the commercial break to see what Tyler's tattoo. So we actually took a reality TV spin on this. We've actually tattooed the name of Tyler's next date on his wrist in Japanese. He will find out soon. Will it be Emily?
It's Maria.
Maria.
in a Japanese accent.
This is a lot of fun. I've had a blast with you. I could do another hour of this. Micah Bellieu, this has been great. Micah, do you want to leave people with just a final thought, maybe, as we kind of wrap it up here?
I would say, if you can, have a conversation about a strategy behind how many hours each employee gets. Have a conversation about it so that you're not buying too much for one person and not enough for another.
Like just like create a policy, like have a
allow the language company to have a 20-minute discussion beforehand. I think that's all it would take.
To really hammer it. Well, that makes sense. I like it. Awesome. And how can people get in touch with you if they want to have a 20-minute conversation?
Fluencycorp.com. There is the phone number there and the contact form at the bottom of the page.
And make sure you text her in Japanese. She does.
I can't read it.
Recognize it. She does recognize it. This is great. Rob loves that. Is the language training show having to translate tattoo to get a date for treasure. Very cool. Thanks everybody for tuning in to Love and Relo. Also, don't forget to follow the Love and Relo page on LinkedIn because we are going to be doing special broadcasts, exclusive content, all sorts of things like that on the Love and Relo page on LinkedIn. So go hit that up. It's not my personal page, which you're on now, but it will be on the Love and Relo page. So go check that out. Follow us. And thanks so much. We couldn't have a show without you out there. So thanks everyone for tuning in. The comments have been amazing this year, this week, this year.
Today.
It's been a long day. Take care, everybody.